The Council of Chalcedon, exposed, why Ethiopians said no. In the year 451 AD, a council was held that would forever change the face of Christianity. The Council of Chalcedon, a gathering of bishops from across the Roman Empire, sought to define the very nature of Jesus Christ. But while many churches accepted its decrees, one of the most ancient Christian nations in the world, Ethiopia, said no. Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're delving into a pivotal moment in Christian history and exploring why the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church rejected the Council of Chalcedon. This isn't just a story about theological disagreements. It's a story about faith, identity, and the preservation of an ancient tradition. To understand this, we need to look at the perspective of the Ethiopian Church itself, a perspective masterfully detailed in works like Miaphysite Christology and Ethiopian Perspective. Christianity in Ethiopia has ancient roots, with traditions tracing it back to the 1st century. By the 4th century, it was the state religion. The early Ethiopian Church was deeply connected to the Coptic Church of Alexandria in Egypt. This connection is crucial to understanding their theological stance. The Christology they embraced is known as Miaphysite, a term that has often been misunderstood. Now, you might have heard the term monophysite, often used to criticize the Ethiopian and other Oriental Orthodox churches. This term implies a belief that Christ had only one nature, a divine one that absorbed his humanity. However, this is a mischaracterization that the Ethiopian Orthodox Church vehemently rejects. The correct term is Miaphysite. Maya is a Greek word for one, but it implies a composite unity. The Ethiopian Tewahedo belief, which means being made one, professes that in Jesus Christ, the divine and human natures are perfectly and indivisibly united into one single nature, without confusion, separation, or alteration. Think of it like this. They don't see two separate natures acting independently, but one incarnate nature of God the Word. This understanding was championed by Saint Cyril of Alexandria, a key figure in the early church. His formula, one incarnate nature of God the Word, became the bedrock of Ethiopian Christology. So, what happened at the Council of Chalcedon that caused such a rift? The Council of Chalcedon, convened by the Roman Emperor Marcion, had a different take. It declared that Christ has two natures, one divine and one human, in one person. This is known as diaphysism. To the ears of those who followed St. Cyril's teachings, this sounded dangerously close to the teachings of Nestorius, who was condemned for dividing Christ into two separate persons. For the Ethiopian Church and others, the Chalcedonian formula seemed to compromise the perfect unity of Christ. But it wasn't just about theological language. The political climate of the time played a significant role. The council was seen by many in the eastern provinces of the Roman Empire, like Egypt and Syria, as an assertion of Roman and Constantinopolitan authority. The rejection of Chalcedon was in part a rejection of imperial overreach into church matters. In Ethiopia, the non-Chalcedonian faith was further solidified by the arrival of the 9 saints in the late 5th century. These missionaries, fleeing persecution from the pro-Chalcedonian Byzantine Empire, established monasteries and were instrumental in translating the Bible into the local Ge'ez language. They reinforced the Miaphysite doctrine that was already taking root. In Ethiopia, the non-Chalcedonian faith was further solidified by the arrival of the 9 saints in the late 5th century. These missionaries, fleeing persecution from the pro-Chalcedonian Byzantine Empire, established monasteries and were instrumental in translating the Bible into the local Ge'ez language. They reinforced the Miaphysite doctrine that was already taking root. In Ethiopia, the non-Chalcedonian faith was further solidified by the arrival of the 9 saints in the late 5th century. These missionaries, fleeing persecution from the pro-Chalcedonian Byzantine Empire, established monasteries and were instrumental in translating the Bible into the local Ge'ez language. They reinforced the Miaphysite doctrine that was already taking root. In Ethiopia, the non-Chalcedonian faith was further solidified by the arrival of the 9 saints in the late 5th century. These missionaries, fleeing persecution from the pro-Chalcedonian Byzantine Empire, established monasteries and were instrumental in translating the Bible into the local Ge'ez language. They reinforced the Miaphysite doctrine that was already taking root. For centuries, Ethiopia remained largely isolated from the Christian world, first by the schism and later by the rise of Islam. This isolation allowed their unique traditions and theological understanding to develop without outside interference. This tranquility was shattered in the 16th and 17th centuries with the arrival of Portuguese Jesuit missionaries. Initially sought as allies against a common enemy, the missionaries soon attempted to convert Ethiopia to Catholicism, which adheres to the Chalcedonian formula. This led to intense and often violent Christological debates. The Ethiopians fiercely defended their ancient faith, viewing the two natures doctrine as a foreign imposition. These controversies left a lasting scar and reinforced the Ethiopian Church's commitment to its non-Chalcedonian position. In the theological landscape within Ethiopia itself was not monolithic. The debates with the Portuguese missionaries sparked internal discussions and even led to the formation of different theological sects, such as the Kibot, Unction, and Sebga, Grace sects, who debated the nature of Christ's anointing and grace. These internal debates, however, ultimately strengthened the core Tewahedo position. So, when we talk about the Ethiopian rejection of the Council of Chalcedon, it's a complex story. It's about a deep-seated theological conviction in the perfect, unified nature of Christ, a conviction they believe is more faithful to the teachings of the early church fathers like St. Cyril. It's about a history of resisting what they perceived as imperial or foreign theological domination. And it's about the enduring legacy of early saints who shaped the spiritual identity of a nation. In the 20th century, ecumenical dialogues have led to a greater understanding between the Chalcedonian and non-Chalcedonian churches. Many now recognize that the differences may have been more about terminology and emphasis rather than a fundamental disagreement on the divinity and humanity of Christ. But for the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, their no to Chalcedon remains a defining element of their identity, a testament to their unwavering commitment to a Christology that emphasizes the profound and mysterious unity of God and man in the person of Jesus Christ. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into history and faith. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.